Push.
This call is being recorded.
All right. Richie, if you just want to start with maybe an opening statement about how this first week down here in Florida has gone, and then we'll open it up to questions. Richie, you can go ahead if you can hear us. Nope, and we lost him. We'll wait for him to come back.
Jordan, while we're waiting, how do you guys usually do the questions on Uber Conference? I know with Zoom there's like raise hand. You just call on people. How do we do this here?
Yeah, so kind of just if just kind of insert yourself into the conversation. We don't have I don't use hand raising or anything. Um, so just kind of go for it if there's a space.
Cool.
All right, Richie, we got you back now.
Yeah, for some reason this conference call kicked me out. They didn't even say a word and it kicked me out. Someone's picking on me today.
No worries. You just want to start with an opening statement about the first week here in Florida, and then we can open up for questions.
Sure. Look, it's been great to be down here in this as expected at a professional level. We had a little bit of an issue with some injuries in training when players were so happy to be flying out the gate, but I think we reined them in and got everybody ready, and it's been a really productive week so far. So I'm very, very happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Anyone want to go first? There you go.
Tim Grinny from Tribal Football. Thanks for your time today. Can you talk in general about the process of roster building and planning? How far do you think out into the future, 1 year, 2 years? I know international teams tend to do it over a 4 or 5 year period, but then they've got their youth teams. So thinking of the various elements of current squad, other domestic players, international, college players, free agents, from a general sense, how do you do that future process building?
What a great question that is. When I first came into the football club, I wasn't as knowledgeable about the league or the players in the league as I would have liked to have been, because it was sort of a new process for me. So we adopted a 36-month project. It was a strategic plan to overhaul the roster and build it out a certain way with a view to, a certain number of draft picks each year, and then a certain number of international acquisitions, whether U.S. women's national team players or European international players, South American international players. So we've more or less followed that plan right now, even with the COVID interruption. We're more or less on track with that. We've now just built out into 2023 with projected acquisitions and projected turnover in our roster. So yeah, it's a process that we have to have an eye on the future, an eye on change, an eye on evolution of the team, and some of those are redirected based on performances. If some of our kids that we brought in as rookies or players who are in second or third year have not progressed where we want them to go, then we'll have to redirect. And it's more of an open plan that's not very fixed and rigid, because I think that the game, changes, in each year you have a different look and a different evolution process. So yeah, I think most of the top teams at a professional level now are planning 2, 3, sometimes 4 years out in advance, with a view to not overhauling the squad but improving the squad, and that's more or less where we've gone.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Richie.
You're welcome.
Hey, Richie, it's Steve Goff. Wanted to
Hey, mate.
ask
How are you?
Hey, about your national team players, the new national team players with Kelly and Emily. How do you plan to use them in your team, knowing their strengths with the national team? How do they? Because often they've interchanged in one position with the national team. Where do you see them fitting in your starting lineup?
No, look, they were great today, Steve. Honestly, they were on a training ground today, and because they both joined late, we gave them 4 or 5 days off. Those two poor kids they've been living in hotels and eating institutional food and been away in 2 camps, and we're only just in March, in the early part of March, and they've spent the vast majority of 2021 in camp. So we gave them a 4 or 5 day break, and they arrived in yesterday, trained light in the afternoon, and then joined in full training this morning. And we did a little project of building out the back, and when I pulled one group to a side to talk to them, I look over, and there's Sonnet and O'Hara sort of barking out and screaming and shouting and more or less directing some of the younger players, hey, when we get back into this is what we need to be doing. So, look, they're a significant piece for us, and Kelly will obviously play in a fullback role or a wing-back role, depending on what sort of system we deploy. And Emily's going to play as a centre-back or in a back 3, or she may even adopt a 6 role. She's going to play more central for us than she is for the national team. I was particularly impressed with her when she played for Portland in a centre-back role when she first came across my radar. And, I've always been an admirer in that role, and I think that she ticks the box for us really, really well. So she played in that role this morning. She'll probably play that role tomorrow in our first match out the bat, and I'm looking forward to seeing her play more central for us.
Excellent. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hey, Richie, it's Claire Watkins from The Equalizer. Thanks for taking the time. I wanted to ask you specifically about Andy Sullivan in terms of her vocal leadership with the team and how many years she's been with the squad and what she brings to training, and then specifically how important it's going to be for you guys to have her back on the field with you this year.
Claire, she's more than just a vocal leader. She's inspirational as well. Even, the 2 national team players, O'Hara and Sonnet, they love her. They think that she's, just a really good, solid personality, and she's inspiring. She'll play in midfield for us, and she'll be a major factor for us. Unfortunately, she had a collision in camp this week and had a little bit of a nose issue, which she might have to wear a face mask for the next week or 2. But she's very keen to get on form and back in the mix with that national team group, especially for the April camp. That's the target of hers. So we hope that the 4 matches we've got planned in preseason, she'll play significant minutes in to get her in a good place, a good mental place, and in good form, and very much in Vlatko's eyes, because we think that she's a national team player with potential of going away to that Olympics. We'll play her in a 6, an 8, or a 10, or anywhere in that midfield. That depending on form and depending on the players that we've got in camp so far, there's been a couple of players who are out the blocks great, and I think that they complement Sullivan really, really well. So, to answer your question, Clay, she's going to be huge for us. But we have player meetings and player interviews to outline what their targets are, individual goals for the season. And she and I are on the same page. We want to get goals. We want to get it amongst the numbers, and playing in deep midfield doesn't always give her that capacity, but we hope that she gets into higher parts of midfield and she strikes the ball incredibly well. So, whether she's sticking it in from 25 yards out or driving past people, I don't really care, but we're tasking it to be a little bit more numbers oriented this year, and hopefully she'll do that.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Hi, Richie. This is Jason from Black and Red United. How are you doing?
Hey, Jason. Good, mate. Good.
Apologies. I missed the first maybe 3-4 minutes with some speaker issues on my end, so I hope this hasn't been asked already. But I know you're kind of hinting at it. The plans preseason wise were to build out your overall tactical approach, the changes you want to implement. You said before that this was the Florida leg was really where you're going to start building that up. How has that been after this first week down in Florida?
Chase, you missed all that. I've given all the secrets away in the first 4 or 5 questions, mate. So you.
No, if you already answered, I can just listen back to
no,
audio.
that's not true. That's not true. I'm only joking, man. This is our tactical periodization, and I've said that in previous media calls. So, yeah, we are slowly but surely evolving in that direction. I'm not just locked into it. I want to try and see how the team and the squad evolves. We're still waiting for the arrival of Julia Rodder, the Swedish international, and she's a huge piece of that evolution too. So I don't want to have to revisit old ground. So we've had probably 2 or 3 tactical sessions where we've looked at different shapes and different movements. We did a little build-out session this morning. I was very pleased with the movement that I was looking for, and hopefully we'll carry that into our preseason game tomorrow. So it will be probably the 3 weeks that we're here. I'm not going to be locked into anything. I know I've hinted at going to a back 3, but I'm depending on the relationships and depending on our movement and how these relationships go. I'm not just going to fly right into that and say we'll adopt it. There might be some times that we'll be fluid between a back 4 and a back 3 in the game and biased towards one side. But we're working on that right now, and player performance and player availability is a big factor for that too. And the way the players are adopting to the tactics is key. We don't just want to try and do it if the players don't get it and it doesn't work well and it doesn't look like a good flow for us. So that's part of the process down here. It's great to be in a camp like this where we have multiple sessions. We can do 2 sessions a day. We can do a classroom session, a chalkboard session, a graphics session. And that's basically what's happening right now. It's been a busy week so far, and I don't expect the next 2 weeks to be anything different.
You mentioned Julia's not there yet. I heard from the team about the visa situation. Do you have a timetable for her and as well for Jordan DiBiase? I know her rehab is still ongoing.
Yeah, Jordan flies back into Virginia. She's been with the Stedman Group in Colorado the entire winter, and they've done a fantastic job. So Jord is George. She's great. I think she gets back into Virginia on the 16th or the 17th. We fly back into Virginia on the 21st. The players have got Monday and Tuesday off, and I was hoping the staff were going to have Monday and Tuesday off, but Jordan calls me and says, "Can you come in and work with me on Monday and Tuesday? I want to get ready to go." So it looks like my 2 days off are out the window. She's ready to go. So she'll be key for us. I think we'll ease her in slowly, Jace. I don't think we'll throw her right in at the deep end. We'll ease her in probably through the Challenge Cup and into the start of this regular season. Rodda's visa issues are very frustrating for me, and I think the timeline. Now we've got, I believe Senator Daschle's getting involved with us right now. There's some people at a higher level, way above my pay grade, weighing into the process. It's very frustrating that you sign a player, the negotiations started before Christmas in December, and then we get the contract in January, and here we are in March, and she still can't get into the country. So, and I understand all the COVID restrictions and issues that have taken place, but surely to Christ that could be happening a little bit quicker. So it's massively frustrating for me because now it alters some of our training plans down here. But, it is what it is. You have to be professional about it, and we'll take that one on the chin. If she can get here by the time camp, before we play the Orlando game, the last weekend of camp, that would be fantastic. If not, then we'll try and integrate her before we play Sky Blue on the
28th. You mentioned the Sky Blue game. I guess that's the one that I don't know that had been announced. That's up here or up at New Jersey.
No, I think that I think we've locked that one in now. We were waiting for a waiver approval from DC government, and my understanding is that that's now been, and Jordan will be able to correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's now been agreed to. I think it now comes down to a kickoff time that we're looking for, and it's going to be at Audi. My understanding is we'll play at Audi.
Okay. I guess my only other question, hopefully, hasn't been asked as well. Are there any new injury updates or players returning from injury that have made some progress?
We other than the Sullivan bang in the nose and the Tegan McGrady, light strain or ankle strain, low grade strain, it really wasn't anything major. And they were both active in training, albeit in limited roles today. Paige Nielsen's carrying a little bit of a knock that we're just keeping an eye on. It's nothing major, but if we push it too much, and of course, Kelly O'Hara's knee is still not 100%, so we're going to try and ease her into activity with us as well. Though she was flying around training today, looking great, but I think we still need to be very cautious about her. There's nothing major, Chase. There's nothing like we are, we're nervous about players. We're just being cautious and not overly cautious, but cautious enough that we put their health and well-being and prioritize and and in a safe way for Challenge Cup matches and the start of the season. So, we'll just ease them through preseason without pushing too hard, and they're the only real ones. Sullivan's nose, O'Grady's ankle a little bit, and O'Hara's knee that she got with the national team in the Colombia game, and Paige Nielsen's adductor.
Great. I think I got all mine in at once rather than trying to spread them out. Thanks, Richie.
All right, mate, well done.
Hey, Richie. This is Kellen Song from City Paper.
Hey, Kellen, how are you?
I'm good. With the addition of national team players, World Cup champions like Kelly and Emily, does it feel different when you have players of that caliber and those accomplishments like on the team? Like what do they impact beyond kind of just like their on field contributions?
They're multiple World Cup winners. They are ultimate, consummate, professionals. Everything they do and how they prepare themselves, their nutrition, their sleep patterns, their preparation, their timing for meetings, their timing for bus departures, all of those things, it's old hat for them, and they're very, very accomplished at that. And I think some of the younger players take note of everything, how they conduct themselves, even in a team meeting, the type of questions that they ask. Emily Sonnet was brilliant there in the training ground and being very forthright and asking a question. And I could see the light bulb go off for a number of players that are less experienced than Sonnet is. So, look, they are super additions to our team. They raise the standards in so many ways. They make our team better, which is why we spent an awful lot of money as a football club to acquire them. And I think that money was really justified when you see how well they integrate and how well they raise the standards and raise the level. And even players who are of that level, like Sullivan and Huster and Sanchez and Hatch and Bledsoe, they're just thrilled to have players of that caliber and that nature around them. I've said it before, when the tide comes in, the whole boat rises, and that's what they've done in the short time that they've been with us.
And how have you seen, on the younger end, how have you seen Ashley Sanchez develop in this past year?
Brilliantly. We've had her player interview already, and it was probably one of the most enjoyable interviews I've had for a long time. She's up for it. She knows she needs to be challenged. She knows she needs to get greater numbers. She knows she needs to turn Vlatko Andonovski's head in her direction and have her in consideration. And she's got the bit between her teeth and looks very, very hungry. I think she's matured a little bit, Ash. She celebrated her 21st birthday with us last year when we were in warm weather camp down in Sandpiper Bay. And she's about to celebrate her 22nd birthday this year with us, and next week, I believe it is. And I think in that year, the amount of professional maturity in both how she goes about her craft and becoming more understanding of her trade has been marked. And I think, I think it's going to be a good year for that kid.
Thanks, Richie.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Last call.
Hey, it's Steve Goff again. How's Trinity doing?
Kumi? Steve,
Trinity.
did you say Kumi Yokoyama or Trinity?
No, Trinity Rodman.
Trinity.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was very good in training today. The finishing was excellent. I think, she's 5 weeks into her professional career. The demands on her have been pretty big. I think that the expectation hasn't been burdensome for her. She's not burdened by it in any way. And she just loves to play. One of the things I will say about the kid is, when the game gets going, she gets going. She's going to have to learn to understand the little subtleties of being a pro, our technical passing boxes and working on a technical improvement and that technical precision that's required. But she is a phenomenal athlete. She's a real good player when the game gets going, incredibly quick. And I'm looking forward to seeing her play this weekend.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I'll send the recording out of this and be on the lookout for more stuff for tomorrow's game. I'll send out a recap, pictures, and maybe some media with that as well. So thank you guys for coming out today.
Thanks, George. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Look forward to
Jordan.
talking to you soon.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Richie.
Richie.
Thanks,
Thanks, Jordan.
Richie. Thanks, Jordan.
Bye.